Well, thank God it's Friday. Um, I was up last night till 9:30. First day of my holidays, and I made it that far. Actually, it was the fact that I was hungry for something, and I was broke, and I was like, well, if I go to bed now, when I wake up refreshed, I also won't be broke. So there's that. Um, and I got paid decently in the fact that I also was able to um, use one of the days where I got paid to do significant writing in my book. I'm not going to complain at this stage, and it is my holidays, and that was something I kept telling myself that day when I got called into work, like, okay, they called me into work, but I got to make the best of this, and it's my holiday check. I get paid as my holiday check. So it's my holiday check, and I got paid. Um, I've already done two things. One, I paid all the bills. The first thing I do, I always do. Um, I'm well ahead on my BC Hydro, but I paid further ahead again this morning. I'm doing this because my anniversary date's coming up, and according to the anniversary date, I'm behind. My monthly payments aren't enough, but I'm $160 ahead right now on my. I'll be fine when that anniversary date rolls around. If they do what they did last year, which is they come out and they check at the house and they go, oh wait, we were wrong, and they give me a rebate. Um, yeah, I won't have to pay hydro for about 3 months. I had to moderate some comments on here when I got up because I had a feeling that if I posted a video where I congratulated Penny Alexiak, which was genuine and it was in the moment. So if I didn't look ready to do a video, it's because I really wasn't ready to do a video. Um, it was genuine, and one of the comments was a rather crudely worded comment about, well, why don't you show the race she won? Okay, well, see, legally, no, I can turn my camera around. It looks like shit. I've done that with hockey, and I've never worried about NHL games, and I've never worried about Gary Bettman, whatever. The Olympic Committee, though, um, if you show Olympic footage and anybody in the IOC legal team finds out, you're going to be fucked. Even the sports channels, if they're not carrying certain events, they just show stills of people with medals. They don't show the race. So for me to take this channel, which is clean and has no copyright strikes on it, and show Olympic footage, even if it's just grainy from my TV, at this point my channel's got 755 subscribers, so it's small time. Maybe it stays that way, but the Olympics and the Olympic Committee, you got to be careful. Like Vancouver, when they were there in 2010. They tried to shut down businesses that had any kind of Olympic related name to them. Even if they'd been in business for 50 years, it didn't matter. They're like, no, we are the Olympics. You're shut down. We're going to sue you. And so I'm not going to be showing Olympic footage on my channel, even shitty from my TV Olympic footage. And I'm not going to sit around and edit together a bunch of footage either, because if people want to see that, they can watch it like on YouTube. It's this thing you're on right now, and there's a bunch of other channels that'll show it. So I'd be sitting here editing something together. It gets me extra views, sure, but it's something a million other channels can do. And if I do it, I'm just going to hear, well, now you're talking. Can you just like edit out your talking and be like, why don't you just watch TSN or Sportsnet, assholes? So, so that's that. I also get the greatest jerseys thing out again. My favorite magazine. I ordered another one this morning. I ordered the blue version of this, so I will have 2 Islanders jerseys instead of 0 Islanders jerseys soon. I found one on eBay that was in pretty good shape, according to the pictures, and it is exactly the one I want. Because now with my jersey collection, I'm to the point where I want exactly the jersey I want. I'm not settling for something that isn't what I want. And I've done that before. There are jerseys in my collection that weren't exactly the ones that I wanted at the time. This isn't one of them, of course. This isn't one of them. It's all Boston all the time. No, I'm just kidding. Um, the details of Patrick Waugh's departure are coming out, and hearing that apparently Patrick Waugh at the start of the summer gave a list of players to Joe Sakic and said, "I want these guys." And then when Sakic in free agency wasn't able to get any of them, didn't say whether he tried and failed or he didn't even try or what it was, but there is a certain side of that where I ask myself, okay, now if you're the coach of the team, you're the coach of the team. Your job is to take the players you're given and do the best you can. Colorado has not been a bad team. They've been consistently close to the playoffs in the last 2 years, and then they'll usually have a bad run that takes them out of contention. But do you give the coach that kind of power? And which coaches in the NHL right now have that kind of power where they can submit a list of names? I would think Mike Babcock in Toronto has that kind of power. Well, somewhat. I would think he could go to Lamoriello and say, Lou, I want these guys. And that Lou would try. I think where Patrick might have been insulted is that maybe Joe didn't tell him one way or the other whether he even tried to pick these guys up. That might have been the problem. Um, it's a it's a tricky thing to measure, really. And if Raw felt he was disrespected, that would explain the move he's made. The one thing that I just heard John Shannon say on here is he may line up with Quebec Corps, the group that bought the Quebec Rampart and um, Ramparts. I'm trying to say Rampart, and it just sounds um, obnoxious coming from me. But uh, for Waugh to go to Quebec and for them for John Shannon then to kind of say, well, they're trying to bring a team to Quebec City. I think that ship sailed. I think in terms of Quebec City getting an NHL team, I think it's a minimum of 5 years before it'll get revisited. And even then, it's the Canadian dollar. Canadian dollar is still sitting at 73 cents US. As long as the Canadian dollar is at 73 cents US, Canada isn't getting another team. It's not going to happen. And it wouldn't matter which city it was. This isn't a Quebec City thing. This is just a reality thing. The NHL is not going to go and put a team somewhere that they believe they're going to lose money and they're not going to be able to pay to the cap. And I just mean cap floor. Because when you're adding 27% to the amount of money you have to spend just to compete, that's a lot of money. That's why the Winnipeg Jets and the Quebec Nordiques disappeared in the first place back in the 90s. Was Canadian dollar dropped like a rock. And it gave owners an excuse to say, well, we want out. I know Quebec, they wanted a new arena as well at the time, which is not an easy sell. I always have a hard time with owners that say, well, we'd like to stay, but we'd really like a new arena, and we really want taxpayers to pay for it. So, they go to the city, and they say, we want this. No. Like, it was announced last week that Molson is building a new brewery, and it's going to be within visual range of my place. And from what I've heard, but how big this sucker's going to be, we'll probably be able to see it. Molson didn't come to the city of Chilliwack and say, well, we'd like to build a brewery in Chilliwack, but what would really help would be if taxpayers there covered our costs for moving. Because, this thing is going to be expensive, and it is expensive. It's going to be 32 acres, and they're already doing water testing on the ground. So, oh, sorry, just woke up and all. Seriously, I just woke up and thought, well, I gotta record a video because what I did yesterday was the Patrick Waugh resignation, and then I did the Penny Alexiak video, and it was only 12 minutes altogether. I didn't really get to share any of my wisdom, if I have any, which I don't know if I do or not. I'm here, so probably not. Um, but yeah, you don't see other corporations coming out and saying, oh, well, we'd like to build this, but we need help. Owners of sports franchises seem to be of the mind that because they sell something to fans in the community, that means the community owes them or something. It's strange. I can't think of why it's different with building a sports arena. And the other thing I find funny too is how an arena will be seen as this is brand new and different and this is awesome and it's great. And then within 10 years, you'll already hear, yeah, we need to build a new one. Like, it's like the Islanders. The Islanders, ironically, I've got 2 Islanders jerseys on the way, one through Lids and now one I've ordered through eBay. The Islanders, decide to leave Nassau and go to Brooklyn. And the arena they go to is not a hockey arena. And after a year, they're already like, well, what? Oh, people aren't coming out? Well, no, not if they can't see the game. The sight lines are bad. It's not made for hockey. The scoreboard's in an odd place because it's made for basketball. So no, hockey fans, and Brooklyn is not the Islanders. Like it's it's not like it's moved to West Virginia or something, but it's not the same. And then I think the other thing they did, and I mean, we as hockey fans might appreciate it, but the first thing they did was make that black jersey with the NY on it. And the first thing I noticed is there's no island logo. It's just New York. And I'm like, okay. So the name change is going to happen at some point. They're in Brooklyn. Um, and it's stuff like that I'm sure there's other fans that probably thought the same thing. Probably saw that and went, it's not really an Islanders jersey, is it? It's black and white. Black's never been an Islanders color, other than that ugly third jersey I got coming, which is sweet. But fans are funny that way, especially in Brooklyn where they have a lot of choice about where they're going to go. You move further into Rangers territory, you're moving further into basically Rangers fans. And like with baseball, you have Mets fans, Yankees fans. Well, I mean, hockey, it's going to be a softer line, but, you're moving away from your Islanders fan base and closer to your Rangers fan base. And now they're finding out, oh, geez, it's harder to sell tickets. Jesus, this arena isn't very good. We may need to get out of this lease. Yeah, before you guys sign a 25-year lease, you should probably look at the building. You should probably know what the sight lines are going to be like. You should probably know whether or not it's good for hockey and whether or not you're going to have to put a bloody car in behind one of the nets because there's a big empty black space. Like, come on. It's this kind of thing that just drives me insane. The other thing I've wondered is, how far can you move a team? Like, the Coyotes move from one arena to another, and nobody pays a whole lot of attention because Phoenix, Glendale, whatever it is, it's Arizona, right? But how far can you move a team before you have to go to the NHL and say, hey, we want to relocate? Like, if the Canucks, decided, hey, we're making good money in Vancouver, but man, Kelowna has offered us a sweet deal to move up there. We're still going to call them Vancouver Canucks. Is that too far? And before everybody goes, well, yeah. Well, the Coyotes, talk openly. There's talk openly, not necessarily from the Coyotes organization as far as I know, but talk openly about, well, they'll have to move to this city or this city in Arizona, So how far's too far? Does it depend on the organization? Like, they've talked about, Toronto's strong enough to support a second franchise. Probably. Yeah. You could probably put a second team in Toronto. It's not going to happen. This isn't a Canadian dollar thing, though. A team in Toronto, you can basically print money, but it's the fact that sorry, it's the fact that you've got so many cities that you could put a team in, where you could expand your fan base for the NHL, and Toronto doesn't do that. God, that sounds like Bettman or Daly, but it's true. Like, I honestly am surprised they haven't put a team in Kansas City yet, because Kansas City has an arena that's ready for NHL hockey and can seat 17,000 people. Seattle doesn't have an arena, so when people talk about Seattle, it's like, look, they can't even get the Sonics back. They can't even commit to building a basketball arena. And this comes down to, of course, they vilified the people on city council that vetoed a new arena. That they say, oh, this will guarantee the Sonics. Nothing guarantees you get a sports team. Nothing. When Kansas City built a brand new arena, I heard about how, they're going to get the NHL. The NHL is going to go there, and they didn't, because you need an owner. They didn't have one. Vegas was an NHL idea. Vegas absolutely was Bettman's baby. Bettman wanted a team in Vegas, and while people have disagreed with Vegas getting a team, and there's plenty of that, on my channel and elsewhere, there's no reason Vegas can't support a team short term. It's the long term that's going to be the issue. Long term, will the Desert support a hockey team? That's going to come down to winning. The expansion draft that I've done a couple previews for on my channel here, it's I honestly think they're going to be able to draft a good team, and I think it's not just the expansion draft. The expansion draft is step one. You get your expansion. You use the entry draft to pick up a couple of guys who are going to score for you. You use the expansion draft as well to pick up your goaltender, because you're going to need a teenage goaltender to introduce to the organization and hopefully groom to be your next Ben Bishop. I say that because he was drafted by St. Louis. He went to Ottawa, and now he's in Tampa, and now Tampa's going to have to trade him. But my point is, you're going to need to fill out your entire organization, and then there's free agency July 1st. So really, Vegas can build a team fast, and if they can have good goaltending and a good blue line out of the expansion draft, and I'm projecting they're going to have both, then it's a matter of forwards. And forwards will be available in free agency, and there will be no shortage of NHL players who want to play in Las Vegas. There will be no shortage of players who want to play in Las Vegas. And Las Vegas was once, just this gambling haven, but it's become a tourist attraction, and there's lots of things for families to do. So if you're a hockey player with a young family, Vegas is a fantastic place to get drafted to or traded to or signed by. So I don't think Vegas is going to have a problem getting players, which is why I don't think they're going to have a problem competing right away. Absolutely right away. So next summer, the speculation is going to be who goes to Vegas, and I think you're going to hear some big names rumored as going to Vegas, and I think it'll happen. So, and then I circle this back. Would that have happened with the Quebec City team? If you put a team in Quebec City, and again, I'm going to sound like Gary Bettman, you put a team in Quebec City, it's small market, it's Canadian money, so you're losing 27% right off the hop. And players always talk about playing for their home team. And you got lots of players who are born in Quebec who, are patriotic for their province. And the thing is, there's lots of guys from Toronto, there's lots of players born in Calgary, Vancouver. They don't necessarily pick the home team. They might pick the team that gives them the most term, the most money, or the best chance to play in the top 6 minutes, whatever the case may be, or top 4 if they're defenseman, or start if they're goaltender. Home team is like the 8th or ninth consideration, because when you're making $6 million a year, You can probably afford a plane trip to Toronto for a week to hang out with your family. You can probably do whatever the hell you want when you got $6 million a year coming in. So I don't see a team in Quebec for quite a while. And if I did see a team in Quebec, I think it'd be harder for that team to succeed on the ice than a team in Vegas. Come on, Shadow, leave your sister alone. If I had a dime for every time I've said that in a video. Come here. All right, let's do this. All right. No. See, if you go off and you play with him, then when he beats you up, you did it to yourself. You know that. You know that. You know I only save you once. Okie dokie. She went right back to him. I only save you once, Bear. That's it. Anyways, I'm already over 20 minutes. Wow. Other quick thoughts. I got up early this morning. I'm like, oh, cool, the Olympics are on already. Yeah, it's basketball between Serbia and China, and they're showing golf. I don't like golf. I I can get into golf if it's the U.S. Open or the Masters, and even then, it has to be the last day. Oh God, they're gonna kill me. Yeah, see, you guys forgot the bed's not behind here anymore. That was funny. Anyways, um, he got up to the top of the couch and was like, "What? Where? What?" And it jumped down. Um, this living room was a series of items all back to back. The cats knew they could use to kind of. It's almost like the cats playing the floor is made of lava. So I moved items around so they can't do that anymore with this couch, so they can't run me over. Because I had a rather large scratch on my leg last weekend from them doing that when I passed out watching TV. It's quite a way to be woke up with a cat scratch all the way across your leg. Two of them actually. So yeah, that was fun. But yeah, today's Olympics aren't. I'm starting to think that they save the stuff that people are going to watch on television for prime time, and for people going, well, of course they do that because the Olympics know how to make money. Touche. But I really Serbia and China, as fantastic of volleyball players as they might be, I just can't be bothering. So I'm going to do some online shopping, and I'm going to put together some ideas for video um, hockey related things I can do later. Even though my Penny Alexiak video will bring in a lot of casual views, I won't change the tone of the channel. That was a spontaneous wow moment last night. And I think it was a spontaneous wow moment because she was in seventh place at the halfway mark of that race. That's impressive. Because they're all so bloody fast. And this is coming from a guy who can't swim. They're so bloody fast in the water. And it is so hard to come back from behind. And the only ones that do it are Michael Phelps and Penny Alexiak. And that's pretty solid praise I could give that girl. Um, the funny thing to me is when they were talking about her and they said she's 6'1". So it's like she's 16, she's 6'1". She's almost a full foot taller than I am. So, and she's my kid's age. Why isn't he 6'1"? All right, genetics. It definitely gives you an advantage in the water to be really tall because every stride is so much further than somebody my height. It'd be dog paddling and I don't want to die, I don't want to die, I don't want to die. You'd think the fear reflex would make you better, but it just doesn't. Doesn't. Not in the water. Makes you sink like a rock. Anyways, I will be back with more ideas and video stuff to do later. I've had some comments on my other videos that I'm going to go through. I'm going to go through for making videos related to hockey, NHL. The topic of whether or not I would cover the KHL is up there. KHL is a challenge because of two reasons. One, I don't really follow it enough. But two, when I look at their top 10 scoring and I see Brandon Bochenski and Nigel Dawes in the top 10, it's hard for me to get excited then about veterans of the KHL coming over because while I respect both Nigel Dawes and Brandon Bochenski, and especially Bochenski, I enjoyed him being a Boston Bruin. I thought he was a good player. No, his scoring wasn't top six level, and he didn't check enough for bottom six. But I thought he was a good player. Seeing him top 10 scoring in your league is, to me, kind of a red flag about the offensive talent in the league. That's me, but it's there, and it's true that some players excel on different ice surfaces, and maybe Bochenski and Nigel Dawes with their skating, maybe they excel on the European ice surface. I haven't watched enough to say, so again, it's hard for me to make videos, about that if I haven't really watched it. So we'll see. But that being said, I'm gonna go get some cat food for the cats because I think that's the problem. They tend to get rather rambunctious. Oh god, her tail's all puffed out. Anyhow, yeah, there's no hope when their tails are all puffed out. That means that they're in full play mode. So I feel bad for Bear though because she's so much smaller than her brother. She's literally half his weight. So when he's rough, there's damn well nothing she can do, and she thinks she can. She really thinks she can win that fight, and she'll go into it a million times, but she can't win that fight. The good thing is that because they're brother and sister, they don't actually scratch each other or actually really hurt each other. But anyways, that's not hockey related. But I'll be back with a video later or two.